Good morning, Dr. Bharti.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning and welcome to this session. And let me thank you for accepting our invitation for this session. Thank you very much. Uh, so, if you are ready, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Let me introduce you with the audience. Uh, Dear participants, today we have Dr. Bharti Gavli from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. She is presently working as a professor in computer science department in Marathwada University. And Dr. Bharti Gavli has completed post-graduation in computer science from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar University, Aurangabad, and doctoral degree in computer science from the same university, that is Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar University, Aurangabad. Professor Bharti Gavli has 21 years of experience in teaching, research, and innovation. Professor Gavli is a recipient of different awards such as DST Fast Track Young Scientist Award, Shiksha Pratibha Award in 2009 by Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Ideal Teacher Award, and a second prize of Maharashtra Research Festival held at Health University Nasik. She has more than 100 research publications to her credit in various journals and conferences of international repute. Her H index is 11 and I10 index is 15 till date. She has delivered more than 41 invited talks at the various conferences and events. She has successfully supervised around 11 PhD candidates, 17 MPhil candidates, and 3 MTech scholars for their research. And currently, 8 PhD candidates are working under her, and 2 MPhil candidates and 3 MTech students are also working with her. She has undertaken 3 major research projects and completed 1 minor project also with a cost more than rupees 45 lakhs from various funding agencies like UGC, DST, and SERB. She is currently working on one major project entitled as Establishment of Science, Technology, and Innovation Hub for Empowerment of SC/ST population of worth more than rupees 2 crore 61 lakhs, that is funded by DST STI Hub. Professor Bharti Gavli is actively associated with various national and international academic organizations. She is life member of IAENG, CSTA, IACSIT, IEEE, FIETE, and ISCA. These are various organizations. Her area of research interests include data compression, speech processing, human-computer interface, emotion recognition, signature recognition, brain-computer interface, remote sensing and GIS, medical image processing, etc. These are some of the few research areas in which Dr. Gavli is working. And today, Dr. Gavli will demonstrate the working of brain-computer interface. And now I request Dr. Gavli to please address the audience. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Let me first thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to present my understanding about BCI. And I will be delivering my complete talk talking about brain, its rhythm, and different devices that will be helping us in acquiring the signal and making machine learn from this particular inputs that we are getting from the brain. So may I start my presentation, sir?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure.
Yeah. I will be not putting my video on for getting the proper bandwidth. Will that be fine enough?
Yeah, that's fine, ma'am. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, so I am very much aware that the FDP is entitled on machine learning applications in LLP and computer vision. In which you all got enough understanding about machine learning applications. BCI is also a machine learning application which deals with the signals, that is a brain signal processing. Now, BCI basically studied for exploring the functions of brain component and to develop an interface application. So since I assume that you are learning this machine learning technology or techniques since from 2 days, so I will not be putting much of stress in practical implementation of different machine learning algorithms on the data. Rather, I will be exploring the concept of how the brain can be one of the input organ which will help us to create certain applications on the inputs. What are the different machine learning algorithms can be implemented and the expert system can be created. So with this short preface, I like you to get into the session, and at the end of the session, we will going to get to know about what is the physiology of the brain and what are the different rhythms that is been associated with the brain signal processing, which we need to understand, because unless and until we understand the source of the signal, it will be very difficult for us to create the corpus so that the expert system can be created. So here it starts with the major source of data, which will help us to create the application. We will going also to see the different EEG data acquisition devices. And because when you hear a word called EEG, it mostly associated with the psychiatric or clinical psychology, which helps to understand what is happening inside the brain, or what sort of a medication is giving what sort of a response is given from the brain. So we are using it, and so it makes us very difficult for research in this particular area, because they have their ethical limitations. So doctor don't share their patient record with us, and so the database is the major problem. And here the data acquisition devices, once you know about, you will be able to get it, and you can create your own task paradigm, and you can have your own database with you to study. We will also going to talk about some of my case studies in brief, and we will also see different other applications which have a room for development, and we will still also going to see different challenges that this particular BCI puts in front of the researcher. So before we talk about the computational techniques or data acquisition or something like that, let's focus on to the physiological aspect of the brain. So this particular, we will all agree that the brain is the most complex organ, and this is only the organ which helps us to helps us to provide a system which will coordinate the complete body. So here is the three basic major major areas which are associated when the brain word comes in front of you. That is the cortex, the limbic system, that is the cortex. This is the limbic system, and this is the brainstem, which is further given to the major skeleton of the nervous system. So this is one of the physiology which we need to understand. We also understand and we know that there are the complete brain is divided into two equal hemispheres. Okay, so we know that there is a left brain and the right brain. We also studied in our schools that the left brain controls the right side of the body, and right brain controls the left side of the body. The left brain functions for analytical thoughts. It is more logical. It also talks about different types of language and the perception of science and mathematics. So this this particular left brain gives you a logical reasoning, whereas the right brain is more towards holistic thought, meditation, intuition, creativity, and all these things gives a basic understanding and awareness about the different emotions. So the person who is right brain is more prominent, or right brain is more active, these people usually work for art, music, or the areas which needs more of creativity. So this is what we need to understand. Why we need to understand this, we will see in the upcoming slides. Now, as we have seen that the complete brain is divided into two hemispheres. So these particular complete brain have different cortex. We have seen the cortex in the first slide. So the cortex is divided into six different parts, which the name itself gives you an idea. When I'm talking about the motor cortex, it means that the movement of the complete body is taken care or controlled by this particular area of the brain. When we talk about the senses, the 5 different senses which are basic, when we have a difficulty, this is particular cortex region which will be responsible for the different type of senses. This is the occipital area or the visual cortex, which itself tells us that it is associated with the visual part of our body, that is nothing but the eyes and the different nerves which are associated with the eyes. We have a auditory cortex which is towards the hearing and associated with auditory association area. We have these two, gustatory cortex and olfactory cortex too. I'm not going to talk about this because these are the things which I usually focus on. So here you are also seeing this particular each cortex, or the area of the cortex, is showing 4 different lobes. That is the parietal lobe, frontal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. So each of the lobe of the cortex is responsible for particular unique functioning. And the good part of the brain is that none of the nerve is going to interfere into the functioning of any other nerve. And if it so happens, then we say that some malfunctioning is taking place in the brain. But for the proper functioning, it means that every part of the lobe and every nerve is functioning for its own lobe and for its own responsible activity. So the frontal lobe is the front side of the brain, which is very near to our front side of the head, and it talks, because you have seen that frontal lobe is associated with motor area. So the frontal lobe talks about movement, it talks about reasoning, it also talks about personality, memory, which ultimately going to talk about complete behavior. The parietal lobe, we have seen that it is talking about sensation. It is also talking about reading, language, writing skills. The parietal lobe will going to take care of all these activities. Whereas the temporal lobe, you have seen that temporal lobe is very associated with the auditory association. So when I say auditory, hearing, speech, vision, all these 3 will going to help us to acquire certain emotions. So all such type of things will be associated with the temporal lobe. And occipital lobe is going to take care of our vision. Now, what this particular thing suggests us? It suggests us that if I am working on a speech aspect, and suddenly if you find one particular subject or a person who's suddenly lost the speech, okay, and all complete physiology of the complete body is perfect, so doctor will going to ask you to go for checking what is going and what is happening into a speech area of the brain. This can also give more, this can also give us insight that if everything, the organs which are related for producing the speech, understanding the speech, if all those organs are working well, then what is the problem? And the brain can solve many of the issues which are available. You can also see that persons who are suffering from paralysis, it is a motor sort of a thing where your left right hand or right hand is not working properly, and still if your cases, if your biochemical or different tests suggested by a doctor comes to be normal, then it means that we need to understand what nerve of the brain is is responsible, or is there any defect is taking place in the region of the brain which is present at the frontal level. We have also seen certain cases where the person was with a very nice vision. He met an accident, and during that accident, his vision is lost. Okay, so if such is the case, it means that we say that the area which is responsible for the vision got damaged, and the neurons that are present over here got damaged, due to which the vision is compromised. We have seen different lobes, which I have mentioned over here, where you can see the frontal lobe helps you to express in a language wise, will help you to solve the problem, which will be responsible majorly for motor cortex area, which will going to help us in maintaining the movements, and the occipital is for the visual processing and color perception. Here the color blindness people can also be studied for this occipital lobe, the area which is temporal lobe, which will help us to for audio, which will help the parietal lobe for different sensation and balance and different senses which are available in the body system. So the question comes is, once we know the physiology or the skeleton of the brain, once we know what are the different areas, we know what are the different lobes, their proper functioning and for what they are responsible for, the question comes is, what I'm going to collect from these particular lobes. So when I say that at the root level, whenever we are thinking something, or when we are suffering from certain, or when we are expressing certain emotion and behavior, there is a communication that is taking place in the neurons within our brain. And what is this neuron? Is nothing but the cell which is specialized for conduction and transmission of electrical signal in the nervous system. So here you can see this is the biological structure of neuron, which you can see these different stem-like structure is called axon, and these are the different dendrites which connects with the another neuron and transmit the data from one neuron to another. While transmission and while transferring the information from one neuron to another, there is a generation of electrical signal in the nervous system. And this electrical signal is conducted along these axons, which you can see over here, which are nothing but the muscle fibers, which carries this particular information and from which it is conveyed to one place to the another one. So this action potential is actually that is taking place from one neuron to another, and here comes the signal processing or electrical signaling comes into focus, which we want to capture and which we want to digitize for the further application of different applications. So there are different methods of going through these. But we will going to concentrate on EEG, which is first presented in 1974 by Hans Berger. And this is non-invasive brain imaging method, which records the electrical activity that we have seen, which is created by the transmission and communication of the two different neurons. And this the EEG will allow us to record this electrical activity, which is present in the form of microbolts. And there are different channels the machine will going to provide you, which will be covering the entire scalp of the brain, and which will cover all the lobes of the brain, and through which this particular EEG channel machine will going to acquire the electrical potential that we have seen. Now, this electrical potential is nothing but an electrical signal, which is divided into these 5 types of rhythms. Now, these rhythms, the frequency is associated with these rhythms. So the frequency will help us to segregate, classify which sort of rhythm is taking place at that particular moment of time when the expression is going on, either in terms of language, either in terms of a brain. We all know whenever we want to say something or we are seeing something, the brain is the organ which will going to coordinate between the different organs to allow to intercept that particular complete message. Okay, so this particular fundamental thing will going to take place with the help of different brain rhythms. And the very slowest is the delta rhythm, which is the frequency is 0 to 4 hertz, which is usually when we have a deep sleep. Okay, Nimhans Bangalore is working on a sleep research where the understanding and interpretation of dreaming in the sleep is taken care of. So, and we all know that if you observe a small baby, there the delta activity is more when he is sleeping. So there in children you will find delta rhythm to be more prominent. When we go for a theta, it means that it is more than 4 to 8 hertz. This is little drowsiness sort of theta. When you are very tired and when your brain is hanged, when you are working so much, so you need a rest at that particular moment, it means you will feel drowsiness at that particular moment. When your activity is lowered down, at that particular time you will feel that theta waves are becoming very prominent. We have a alpha, which is a restful
Hello, ma'am, your voice is not audible. Hello,
Madam, your voice is not audible.
hello, ma'am, your voice is not audible. Hello. Hello, ma'am. Your voice is not audible. Hello. Hello.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible. You can try to disconnect and connect again.
Sir, I did it. I did it once. Let me just give me a minute to see the things again. Hello. Uh, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is
Now it
audible.
is coming?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Now we can
Okay.
hear
Okay.
you.
Uh, okay, fine. So okay, we were I'm really very sorry for this audio issues, and let's not waste time in um, let's not waste the time in putting the things in another way. So we have so how we are going to detect these brain waves and how we are going to capture that. So for that, we will be in need of a sensors. Okay, so here in BCI language, we call those sensors as electrodes, which are placed on the scalp of a person. And we also see that when slower brain waves are dominant, we feel tired, as we have seen in the chart. And when we have a higher frequencies dominant, we feel that we are very active and we are hyper.
Ma'am, no voice again. Excuse me, ma'am. There is no voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
I am, but I'm not able to. I mean, the things are again. Just a minute, huh? our blood pressure get arise, and it usually found when we are anxious and we are more in stress. It is suppressive when we are in depressed and we have different learning ability disabilities. And the more of gamma rays can also be seen if we are going into a high alert meditation. So this is also another very good aspect of this particular signal. So if we want to study different meditation techniques and what happens to brain when we are into a meditative state or in a normal state, if you want to find out the difference, the gamma activity can be a good method of doing so. So here is again the another beta brainwave, where we are seeing that you are in positive stress when you are active, but at the same time you are active also, you are taking certain positive stress. At that particular time you will be like while going into an exam, when you are giving an exam, it's a positive stress that you carry, you are very much alert, you are very much attentive. At that particular time your beta brain activity will be seen more prominent. The alpha is when you are very much relaxed, and when you have relaxed, but at the same time you're alert also. So it happens when you are for example watching a movie where you are very much associated with the story, the character of the movie, but at the same time you know that is not real and you just came for the enjoyment. So at the same time you will be relaxed too. So this is your alpha activity, which keeps you active. At the same time it will be relaxed too. So the another one is the delta activity, which will be causing, if they are prominent, which will cause you ADHD, which is hyper active activity, which will not be good enough, and which found mostly in small children's, and impulsivity, inattentiveness. So if you want to find out the reasons for hyperactive children, you will be concentrating on this particular signal. Then the last one is the delta activity, which is more in sleep. When you are advised to have a deep sleep at that particular time, or when you want to see the medicative reflexes on the sleep pattern at that particular moment of time, when you say that I'm taking certain medicine and I'm feeling slow sleepy, at that particular time your brain signals are at the delta brain wave things. So am I now audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, audible.
Okay, fine. So you see that the left side of the flow diagram will tell you that this is what we look when we are working with the body system, when we are working with the physics system, where the brain will be giving certain output to a central nervous system, and according to the commands, it will be given to the muscles for certain particular action. For example, if you want to move your right hand, the brain should give a command to a motor cortex area, and then this particular information will be sent to the muscle of the right hand, and then your right hand will be moved. Then the action will going to takes place. In the same way, what we will going to replace in the artificial brain computer interface is the central nervous system, and the muscles is completely taken care with the help of artificial system, which we call a BCI. And depending upon the outcome of or depending upon the result of the information that is passed by BCI, certain applications can be created with the help of action mode. So we have seen there are different brain mapping methods, which I just talked about, is invasive, partial invasive, and non-invasive, where we have also seen that EEG comes into non-invasive mode. Now, what is invasive? Where you are going to have a surgery and where the electrodes or the sensors will be placed directly in the area from where you will going to get the electrical signal, which is very risky at that particular moment of time, because opening a brain and going into that particular area of a brain to understand what is happening or what functions are taking place is very risky affair. At the same time, when you go for a partial invasive, which you can get from electrocorticogram, here the electrodes are placed on the scalp, but not at that particular place from where the electrical signal will come. So here only skull is dissected and your sensors are placed into. That's why it is called a partial invasive method, because there you are not directly touching to the exact area from where the actual potential will going to generate. But again, you have to undergo a surgery of the scalp, which is again a very risky for the health or for the life of the subject. So we have another method of capturing the data, which we call is a non-invasive method. There are different types of non-invasive methods are available, where we will be focusing on the EEG. So we have just talked about, here you can see the non-invasive, which is having a simple wireless machine on the scalp of the subject from where you can take the data. Partial invasive, where this type of a mesh electrode or sensor system is placed on the scalp. And invasive, where actual brain area is selected for getting that particular information. So it's quite risky. So how I am going to place these sensors? Is there any particular method of placing the sensors so that the complete brain will be monitored or it can be tested or trained? So yes, we have an international standard format for placing those electrodes, and these we call as a 1020 electrode placement system. Now, why it is called 1020 is because you see the complete brain diameter is divided into 10 and 20% distance from one electrode to another electrode. So from the nascent to the first electrode here, there will be a difference of 10% of the brain, and the rest is 20. And at the inion, which is the which is at the last part of your brain, which will again also be of 10%. So it is 10-20 system, where both the two different start and the end of the skull will have 10% of distance, and the rest of the electrodes will be at the 20% of the coverage of the entire brain. And to better understand the placement of electrodes, the frontal electrode is named the terminology used is called F, and the central electrodes are terminalized as C, T, and occipital. And prefrontal is also there, which we call FP. And then you will be able, if you look at this particular figure very properly, you will see that there is a odd and even number placement is also there. Now, what is this odd and even? It is a numbering system which is used by 1020 standard method, where odd numbers of the electrodes are towards the left side of the hemisphere, and even numbers are placed at the right side of the hemisphere. Now, what is the significance of having these number system is that For example, while you are capturing a data and your C3 is showing the attenuation, means it is not connected properly. So what you will be able to understand, okay, I have to search the left side of the brain in the central section of the scalp. So here, understanding and identification of the place of the electrode will help you to recover the different problems that are occurring at that particular electrode. So here I just shown you the alphabet that are associated with the different region of the brain. Now, these electrocephalographic measurements are having, when you purchase a device, there is a recording system comes inbuilt, and those recording systems will going to have electrodes with the different conductive medias, will definitely have amplifiers, because you know the signals that are coming from the skull has to be filtered and has to be amplified to take into a system. So it needs the amplification, at the same time it needs the conversion too, and there is a recording device which will help you to record all those signals into the acquire system or acquire software of your EEG device. At the same time, these electrodes, you can see over here, this is a cap which is consist of different electrodes which are placed. Okay, so these electrodes, there are different types of electrodes or the sensors comes for. It can be made of gold, silver chloride, it is made up of stainless steel or a tin. Here, the photograph shown over here is a wired EEG cap, which comes with the wired machine. So you have to place these electrodes at the 1020 system. At the same time, to get it properly stuck to the skull, you need to have certain gel. There are wet electrodes also, there are dry electrodes also, but this type of research devices are mostly with the gel-based electrode devices, which helps you to stuck those electrodes very properly to the position, so that the electric signal that you are collecting will be properly preserved. So it is reusable disc electrodes. If one of the electrode get damaged, you can only replace that particular electrode with the different another disc that comes along with the kit which you have purchased. This is a very uncomfortable recording cap. So there is the new and a trendy headband sort of electrode caps are also coming, which comes with the wireless devices of acquiring the signals. So there are different merits and demerits of wired system. As you see, the when you have a wired system in front of you, it becomes very difficult if the person is with lot of hair on his skull. So there your oil applicability is to be compromised. You have to tell your subject to wash the hair properly, and it should not be with the oil. So preparation of capturing the data is little difficult or little inconvenient. Okay, so but at the same time, you will be seeing that once it is placed properly, so you will not be able to you will be able to get the signals properly. So easily mounted on the scalp, as I shown you. Here you can take the demerit is that you will be able to capture the data of 25 to 45 minutes, and you will face certain problems with the artifact if the person, because it is wired, you have to make your subject sit stationary, which is very difficult for a patient to be. So the electrical artifact can come if the person is moving moving a little bit too. So this also is a demerit which you can see. And here the sitting is very tiresome. for that particular subject for sitting for a long time. If your application requires to sit it for a longer time, it becomes very difficult. User interface, the merits are user interface with LCD is available. You can see, you can record, you can amplify, you can control, you can see whether the which electrode is properly connected, which electrode is not properly connected. You can visualize that. Here, as I told you, the preparation time for a long EEG signal is very difficult and confined to a limited space without freedom of posture or the moment. So this wired system, we worked on wired system also, where we have faced all these merits and demerits of the wired EEG acquisition system, which is difficult. So there are certain wireless EEG systems available. The finest merit of wireless EEG system is that the movements are possible. So there is a freedom of sitting postures and the movements are unrestricted. So here you can, even if I am wearing a emotive or any wireless EEG system now also I will be comfortable and I will be talking to you at the same time. While speaking, the data can be captured on the machine at the same time. So it means that the movement is the biggest merit, and the wire connection, the uncomfortableness of the person is decreased. But a little bit of improvement in accuracy or this wireless system comes with the specific suits or comes with a specific software dedicated for that particular event happening. Okay, so wireless system is restricted to the application available in the software that is given by the manufacturer. It is not the case with the wired. You can use it for any sort of application that is available. So this is the wired system, where you can see we were having a 40-channel trolley mounted computer based EEG system with us, which helps us to monitor the cerebellum or cerebral functioning monitoring. But this is also one of the Neuroplax TMS wired EEG machine, but I didn't work on this particular EEG machine. But it is available. If somebody want to work with such type of wired system, you can also go with this particular system. So there is another very trendy thing is coming with the wireless machine, that is Emotive Insight, which is 5 EEG sensors are available with the 2 reference sensors, which are quite elegant. It is also very lightweight. So Bluetooth is available so that the data will be transferred to the devices manufactured by Emotive, and it helps us to get the application which is related to a stress, excitement, relaxation, engagement. Okay, so this particular wireless device can be taken care for these different activities. This is another device which is wireless and which will help to get again a trendy, lightweight. It is with a dry electrode, so there is no question of applying any gel to this particular equipment. And here you can have a smartphone application too. So for example, if you want to go and see that what is happening inside my brain when I'm playing a PUBG or any smartphone game or entertainment, this particular device will be best suited, which is manufactured by this particular organization or industry. This is a Muse Muse wireless device, which is also output some EEG power spectrums, and it is basically deals with the different types of excitements where attention is one of the major parameter which is taken care by this particular wireless machine. So if you want to study ADHD, or if you want to study that while listening to an online talk, how much attention is there, and while you are in a offline class, what is the different attention levels, that also study can be taken care. And if you have this machine, it will be best suited for such type of application. This is Emotiv, which I have just shown you in my earlier slide, which is 14 channel machine, and it is wet sensors are available, which is not where we are just applying a saline to allow those sensors to get stuck very properly to the scalp of the brain, and which is manufactured by this particular industry that is called Emotiv, which is here we are having a different suits available, which we will going to cover in the upcoming slides. So Emotiv, we have one application which is related with this Emotiv. So we will cover this in the later of the slides. This is again Intraxon Muse is again available, which is having 7 sensors, which is again there is a IMEC EEG headset which is wireless, which is having 8 channels. So here you have seen I have given certain applications, and if you see wireless, these are very trendy equipments which helps you to acquire the signal, as well as discomfort is totally removed from the devices. So so these are the different devices which will help you to acquire the particular signal, which you will going to pass for certain black box, which we call a brain computer interfacing, which where you will going to apply certain machine learning AI algorithms after capturing the signals, where the machine learning approach will come in front. Okay, so depending upon the objective of your task paradigm, you will apply the technology over here, and the result of these technology will help you to decide certain actions for your system to perform. Okay, so then you will be able to get all the complete system which we call as a BCI. So where we will collect the brain signal, interpret them, and output the command to a connected machine, which will help you to get certain expert system. So here is the general structure of BCI, where you will acquire the signal on different types of machines that you will choose for the signal acquisition. Once the signal is acquired, then you need this particular block in front of you. Now here comes the computer machine learning or AI approach in front of you, that if you want to remove the artifacts, you need to go for pre-processing. Noise removal algorithms are available, which will help your signal to be free from any different noise. Mostly the software which comes with the machine, which comes with the device, helps you to output the acquired signal in the form of pre-processed signal. So there is very less devices which don't provide this pre-processing, but mostly we have this particular inbuilt software utility available with the software. Once your pre-processing is clear, you have a clear data in front of you. You can use any feature extraction technique from the machine learning set depending upon the supervised or unsupervised learning you want to give, and what sort of outcome you want. Depending upon that, you can select the features. At the same time, you can also classify the signals, whether at say 2 second, which type of rhythms are active, which rhythms are not active, or if you want to perform the classification with a different task paradigm, how the frontal lobe is working when you are working with task paradigm 1, where how the signals are working when you are working with the task paradigm 2. So here the classification can also be taken care of, and depending upon this classification, what result you will be getting, you can generate a control interface, and that leads to the application which you have created. So just now I told you that this is the machine which is available in our SCM IPR lab of my department. We purchased it under one of the major research project which we worked on. And here you can see some of the images of the brain signal 2, which is available in the software utility present with this particular system. It's a dedicated system for that. So here, while acquiring, you need to have certain ethical concept also in front of you. The volunteers who are accepted to be a volunteer for your brain study, there your information need to be filled. Ethical committee is there which will take care whether the complete medical ethics are followed properly or not. So I'm even when we are acquiring certain signals, we had ethical committee which have a report or which have a complete form which states that we cannot allow anybody to have this particular data. Okay, so the security of the information is properly adhered. We have in this wired machine, we have an acquisition toolbox which provides start EG, stop EG, record or freeze or impedance check. So this is very user friendly and GUI based acquisition system where once your electrodes are placed properly and you started this acquire software which will going to blink this particular utilities in front of you, and you can utilize these activities to start the EG or to stop the EG recording. There are certain events also like eye open, eye close. If you're feeling drowsy, that particular event is also available, whether you're awake, whether you're asleep, there is a huge scope on working on this particular seizures, sort of epileptic seizures sort of disease when the person is going through. Then you will see some abnormal spikes also coming if you have this. I want to share that one of the participants from North Maharashtra University worked with this eye open event only. When the person eye open and eye close. So what he did is he captured this particular EEG signal for this particular event. When the person is opening his eye, his medical bed was coming little up. I mean, we have that bed, no, where we have to remove we have to rotate the handle, and then the head side of the bed comes up. So that particular moment of the medical bed is controlled by the patient who was suffering from a paralysis, and eye open and eye close activity was taken care of, getting that particular bed ahead and getting it down. So what I want to tell you is that these are the events, and each single event can create a separate application which will help you to see what actually these particular events will help you to do so. So this analysis software is also available. I told you that this is a complete dedicated system that comes with the device. So there comes a photic light which is having that electrodes mounted. It also have a acquire software. It have an analysis software. So the tool menu is going to give you frequency domain data also and time domain data also to analyze, measure, or do whatever the thing that you want to do with the data. There are different types of maps available which help you to understand the activity that is taking place in the in the entire brain. So if you click on this single map EEG utility, you will see amplitude map for that particular instance which you have selected. Try map is available, which gives you the top view, left view, and right view of the image. So what is happening at the from the top of the brain image, what is happening at the left view, what is happening in the right view of the brain image, you can see. So what you see over here is the amplitude map. Here you will see the different spectra that is present in the image of the brain. Even you will see some frequency map for selected 2 seconds of the data. And it will also going to display the power spectra for all these alpha, beta, theta, and delta. So it is very nice software which will help to analyze the particular acquired signal. The frequency spectra is also one of the very major feature of this particular device, which gives you different power frequencies, like peak power frequency, which is the frequency at which the peak power was occurring. Okay, it also gives you SEF, which is a spectral edge frequency, where your power lies 95% of the power of the spectrum. Okay, and medium power frequencies, 50% of the power, below 50% of the power, and above 50% of the power. So these are the three. We worked usually on this particular peak power frequency of the frequency spectra of the image, of the data that we have collected. Frequency progressive is also there. It gives 12 frequency maps of 2-second data. Now, what is 12 frequency maps? Whatever the electrodes that you have kept on the scalp of the subject, here with the help of this particular utility, you will going to have a map of the brain or image of the brain for the selected 2 seconds of the data. You have to select from the time which time you want to see this 12 frequency maps. Okay, just now in the earlier slide you have seen different images also. That is nothing but the 12 frequency map selected for that particular 2 second of data. It also gives you a frequency table, which is absolute power, relative power, and just now I told you peak power frequency or something, the utility which works for the frequency. This is the acquisition setup that we were having in our lab. This is the FORTEC, and this is the board which is having the electrodes attached with this particular system, and this is the dedicated laptop or acquisition, acquire and analysis software comes with this particular device. So this is completely one unit that comes when you are having a wired EEG setup. You see that because we were not having a cap that time, so we used to have a cotton. We used a cotton and this particular gel to fix this particular electrode on the skull of the particular subject, and as they are connected, the recording is taking place over here in the acquired software. We also worked with wireless emotive Epoch Neuro headset. This is which you can find that these are the electrode. These are the sensors which are, going to stick up to the scalp, and which will going to be very handy actually. So here we have a 14-channel EEG hardware available with us, which is low cost. It costs us around 35,000 in education. Education, because we all belong to education, so they give certain discounts also. So it is hardly 35,000 emotive machine, which comes with the software key also. It is 40-channel EEG. And these are the different positions. Now we know what is F, what is FC, and these are the occipital, parietal, temporal. These are the positions on which this particular electrodes are fixed into the band. So here we don't have to fix those electrodes as we did in the case of wired EEG machine. Here you have to simply place that particular band, and automatically it will take care of the 10-20 pattern suggested by the International Forum. So again, here also you see the odd numbers at the left and even numbers at the right. This is the placement of the electrodes, and the name itself gives you idea where that which electrode belongs to which lobe and what its functioning will be. So this is how the electrodes will be placed when you wear that emotive cap. Now here the green signifies that the electrodes are properly mounted on the scalp and they are ready to acquire the signal. So this green color represents the readiness of the device to collect. If, for example, if FC3 is not connected properly, here it will going to show the red color. Okay, so in this case, all electrodes are properly placed and all are active to capture the data. So this green color is for the representation of readiness. So here you will see this is the epoch control panel. It is the software that comes with the device. It is epoch control panel, which is going to show the status of the engine. Now here is the engine status, which says that emotive engine is ready because all are in green in color. It helps you to maintain the time. It helps you to see the how the signal the quality of the signal will be. So here green color represents the good quality of the signal. Whether the battery power of the equipment or battery power of the system is proper or not, it also displays that too. So here you can see it is high. So it means that this particular headset system is ready to use. This particular emotive epoch provides a help desk also, where you can directly connect to the engineers of the manufacturer, and they very helpful in solving all your queries. They also provide you a headset setup guide, which after gone through will going to put light on various different utilities available with this particular set. So this emotive epoch suit comes with the three different suits, that is expressive suit, affective suit, and cognitive suit. The name itself gives you idea. This particular suit is the expressive suit is talking about the different expressions of the face. Like the expressions are like when you are smiling, when you are putting your eyebrows up, when you are bringing your eyebrows down, when you are smiling from the left side, when you are smiling from the right side. So these are the different expressions. When you are closing your eyes, when you are blinking your eyes, these are the different events which are available with the expressions. So why these expression, where this particular expression will going to work is you can play or you can create certain application from such type of single one event also. For example, if you connected with the emotive and if you smile, so your smile will become your password to open that particular system, because it will going to acquire those signal, and it is connected with the start utility of your Windows or start utility of your computer. So you can have that sort of interface with these particular expression suite. So here these are the different expressions which are available, like blink, right wink, left wink, and so you can check any one of the event, and you can research on those. So here you can see that here your eyebrows, the event is raise eyebrows. Okay, so here raise eyebrows. So here you can see this particular signal is high, and the recording will going to take place with this particular event. You have to choose this event, and the later recording will be for this particular event. So here there is again the Furrow Pro, there is Smile, as I just given you an example. So you have a clench also. different expressions, left wing, right wing, and laugh. So there is a difference between smile and laugh. You can see even a research can take place. What happens when you smile and what happens when you laugh. So these are the different expressions that are available with the expressive suit. Affective suit basically talks about your excitement. What is the state of your excitement when you're performing certain activity? Like whether you are engaged into that particular activity. So it talks about the attention. It talks about the concentration. Okay, whether you are not, whether you are in frustrated mood. Sometimes we are frustrated from inside, but on the face we don't put any expressions on. But that also can be received by this particular device. Meditation, you can read, or you can apply different meditation techniques, and you can have a comparative study of those meditation with the help of these particular signals. Then you have excitement, instantaneous excitement, long-term excitement. These are the different detections that you can do with the help of this affective suit panel, which is available with the machine. The very important suit that is available with the wireless emotive epoch is cognitive suit, which provides you totally 13 different actions. The 6 directional movement like push, pull, left, right, up and down. 6 rotational, clockwise, counterclockwise, left rotation, right rotation, forward rotation, and a backward rotation. And the another is a disappearing. All these 13 actions, this cognitive suit reflects with the, or express with the help of a square box that they have into their software. So here you can see the current action is neutral, detection is active, and so but my current action is neutral. I'm not doing anything. So that's why this particular this is just a representation what sort of activity we are taking care of. So the movement of this particular cube will help you to understand that the interfacing is taking place. Okay, so this is a very nice. For example, when you pull, though, when you are thinking about pull activity, this particular square will come very close to this particular software. Pull means you're taking something very close to you. So this particular square or cube will come very close to you. Then when you go to neutral, it will again come to this. When you see, you will, when you have chosen a left, it will go to left. When you choose, right, it will go to right. When you choose up, it will go here. You can see over here. When you go right, you will see at the down side. And when you want it to rotate clockwise, anti-clockwise, it will going to rotate. Here I am not able to show the rotations, but these are the different activities that are present when we are having the the cognitive suit. When you choose it to disappear, when you think that it should be disappear, then it will be going into a dark and it will not be visible. So these are the different cognitive suits. Now the question comes that what will be done through these particular the events. Okay, so for example, if you want to use the mouse, you can interface these events with the cursor movement of the mouse. Okay, for example, if you say, when I say it should go up, the mouse cursor will going to go up. When you want it to come down, you can interface it with the different different equipments that you want to handle in with the help of these particular different events. The another wireless device which one of my student is working with is Muse EEG headset. It is specifically gives you the actual feedback in the form of EEG signal. It also gives you the heart rate at that particular moment. It also gives, you can also check the different meditation posture with the help of, so how the meditation posture is seen by the physical relaxation. You know, there are certain meditation techniques which ultimately make you feel relaxed physically, mentally too. So this particular device will help you to see and to keep the connection between the meditation posture and the physical relaxation. Okay, so here you can also simulate the different yoga postures and what happens when pranayam is, you are performing a pranayam. So is really you are feeling feeling relaxed. That particular sort of a activity can be gauged by this particular Muse. Breath also can be taken care, like when you say breathe in, breathe out, makes you relax. So really it makes you relax or not, you can check those sort of different techniques of relaxation with it. These are the different specification of this particular machine. You can see a simple, a very trendy headband is there, which brings lot of comfort for acquiring these EEG activity. So I just told you the different utilities and different features available with this particular band. So here is the wireless device, which gives you different spectrogram, which gives you a raw data, frequency domain data. These are the different utilities available with the Muse. So here we have also again saw once your data is captured, you will going to process. So here whatever you have learned in your machine learning tutorials, in your machine learning classes, you will going to apply on the data that you have captured, and then you can create your own applications. So once your data is captured, there are softwares which help you to analyze. Other than the softwares that are available with or that comes with the machine is MATLAB based Octave or EEG Lab, which is a very efficient tool, which is MATLAB based, which will help you to analyze the EEG signals. BioSig is also MATLAB based, and EEG analysis toolbox is completely available with the MATLAB for analyzing your EEG signal. Python based is nowadays in boom, which is PyEEG. It's a open software available for analyzing your EEG signal, and functional brain mapping lab is also available. So basically, we didn't work yet with PyEEG or this particular lab. We worked with EEG lab, which is MATLAB based for analyzing our signal. So let's come to the case study that we did. Now, in the case study one, what we were looking for is that we wanted to identify the emotion of a person. Now, when I'm saying emotion, it is not only a unimodal modality. So here we chose bimodal concept, that we worked on EEG images and we worked on speech signal together. So we correlated first whether the EEG is really correlated with the speech. Okay. So, so we got a very good correlation between the EEG and the speech signal, and we perform certain statistical techniques and for correlation, and we use these two modalities for this particular case study we performed on wired EEG machine, and here, as in one of my slide, I mentioned amplitude progressive map, which provides you 12 different maps of the brain with respect to this particular 2 second of data that we have chosen. So this particular time, or at this particular 2 second, what is the activation of the lobes that we have seen in earlier slide. So this is the spectra which goes from -60 to +60 microvolt, where the red color shows that highly active or prominent activities taking place in that particular area. Unfortunately, the band that we have selected is neutral and it is not showing any activity in this particular, at least in this particular slide. So if you choose any other, you will see that different activities will going to take place. So here, this is one of the image that we have taken from one of our experiment or task paradigm. And here you can see it is 16 spectras are available from -60 microvolt to +60 volt. And this is the prominent this thing. So what we did is, once we get this amplitude mapping of the brain images, we were interested in understanding which area is more prominent and which area and how much it is prominent. So we were also wish to see the activation. If you see the, if we say that this is the most active or prominent area, which you can see. So this is the area which we were interested in this particular image. So the features of EEG image, what we took is active region, that is we concentrated on the very dark red color of the image. Active electrode, the electrodes which fall under that particular red area. So we have selected only those electrodes. And the size of active region, what is the coverage of that particular red area, because more the coverage, more number of lobes will be coming into focus and more number of electrodes will going to give you the data. So we did that sort of, because we were using it with the speech processing. So here different parameters that we taken through speech modalities: pitch, energy, and intensity. We all know these three are the major speech parameters, which is directly proportional to the to how you are expressing your ideas, and the expression will ultimately going to carry certain energy, and it will going to reflect in the in these three features that we have selected for the speech. So what were the findings? We found that when the person is happy, in happy emotional state, the emotions seen in EEG images are more striking towards the right part of the brain. And you have seen in our early slides that the right part of the brain is responsible for showing the various emotions that we cross-checked over here, and we got a very positive result. Same thing, we found that sad emotions, when you are sad, you become little depressive, which is at the left side of the brain. So the electrodes which fall under the left side were more active when we are experiencing or when we are giving stimuli with the sad emotions to the participant. So this is something which we found. Even I want to specify here that when we want to record, see, creation of a corpus is not an easy task. Okay, you have to take different number of trials. So here we took 3 sets of each particular subject for each particular task paradigm. Okay, so we also observed that when the subject consented to be a part of the activity or part of the project, in set 1, the person is very conscious about what conscious, and that consciousness is entangled with the data. You can very easily see the person is not comfortable. But once they are trained with this particular procedure of acquiring the data, in set 2 and in set 3, the friendliness and relaxedness has added to the data. So here we can say that's why we took 3 different sets for single particular subject. So that helped us in having a more number of data. And we all know that computational or computer device, when you have more number of data, the accuracy increases. So this is the first case study that we did with the 2 different models. And one of the very interesting work that one of my PhD scholar did is analysis of pattern recognition techniques for cognitive control application using emotive epoch. This is where we use a cognitive suite of emotive epoch for understanding the different patterns, and created a robotic arm which is controlled by the cognitive suite event that I was talking about in my earlier slides. So what we did over here is, these are the suits that I just told you. This was the implementation flow, and this is the arm that we created, robotic arm we created, and we controlled this robotic arm with the help of push and pull operation, push and pull event of cognitive suite. You remember the earlier slide was showing some of the push and pull sort of thing. These are the different flowchart that we used for the this thing. You remember these screenshot that I just told you. Push, this is the neutral event we use when we didn't started the activity. So neutral event is considered as the relax data acquisition, where nothing is going to take place. And push event, when thought of, this particular cube will go away from you, and this event is taken care to move the arm. Same is with the pull event occurrence. So we have used these 2 events. As I told you, the demerit of these EEG devices is that it gives you a limited number of events to work with. So we use the available events that are available with the software, and we interfaced it for the application of robotic arm, movement of a robotic arm. And we use a test bench tool. The data that you got from that you get from Emotive is in the format of EDF, which is very easily can be analyzed by EG Lab, which is a GUI-based MATLAB this thing. BioSig toolbox is also available. We have used ICA from machine learning algorithm toolbox to clean the data and to channel a particular data to separate the different independent sources from the mixed signal that we were getting. These things we did it online to judge. So when the push event was occurring, the arm of the robotic arm was moving up. When pull event was happening, the arm was down. So these were the 2 different events we interfaced. And we also worked on the images that we got in that particular Emotive. And we saw, because this we did because we want to see which event, at particular event, which particular lobe and which particular electrode is active. So here in this figure, you can see there are 4 instances of occurrence of pull event for 4 different subjects, which we named ABCD. And here you will see that when the pull operation is taking place, this is the spectrum, this is the arm up action, and this is the images that we get from this thing. What it tells? It tells that when it is observed that during imagination of the movement of push or pull, the frontal region where the motor cortex is located. You remember the first few slides, we saw that frontal region is associated with the motor cortex, where and the event that we are interfacing is related to a motor cortex, that is movement of a particular organ or a particular object, that is push and pull. So here the frontal region shows much of activation. So it was also a promising, and it was also we were also excited to see that whatever we are doing in with the robotic arm interfacing, it is well reflected in the images too. So even from these images, we can also create number of activities or number of BCI applications. So if for example, if you want to see whether pull operation is taking place or push operation is taking place, when a person thinks to pull something or push something, so this is the activity which happens inside the brain, which you can capture through the images. These are the different spectra that we get from the different utilities from the movement. This is arm down movement of the robotic arm. Now let's come to the different applications. These are the two applications that we did when we were at the baby step of BCI research. There are different references available for different types of applications that one can create. And as I told you earlier, that there is an ample room to contribute in this particular area. The application starts from, say, mental stress to brain dominance. You can see the different types of applications you can work with. You can measure a mental stress of a person for one particular activity. For example, if a person is listening to a particular patriotic song, so what sort of mental activity is taking place inside it? Okay, you can give him a long mathematical formula to solve a particular problem. What mental stress that is applied on the brain, which you can capture through the electrodes. These are, or when a person is sad, what sort of a stress he will is shown from the EEG. When a person is suffering from depression, what sort of a function, what sort of a brain signals are active? That particular, all this study you can do with the mental state with the help of EEG. As I told you, epileptic seizure is one of the major area to work, and EEG can play a very important role in analyzing the epileptic seizures. If we can predict, till now it is very difficult, and till now the prediction of epileptic seizures, occurring of epileptic seizure is not yet done, but we can perform a very few studies you will see, but there is still a time, or there is still a scope to work with this particular epileptic seizures study with the help of EEG. Visual and cognitive fatigue during learning. The pandemic has affected the education system like anything. So here nowadays, in these 2 years, we experienced the online learning. Okay, so here what fatigue comes when a person is sitting on a mobile and learning something, or whether the cognition is increased or whether the perception and cognition is decreased when we are going for an online learning method. So that particular study can take place with the help of EEG machine. So and what are the different effects of sitting in front of a digital media, and what happens to our visuals? So this can be very easily seen through occipital lobe electrodes. So these things can be taken care when you want to create something from the EEG device. 3D video games. In one of my earlier slide, I told you that the engagement, the attention, the concentration can be studied if a person is playing certain video games. It is observed that we can create certain video games which will help a particular person with the less attention to raise the attention level of a particular person. Okay, so but that sort of video games, positive video games, should be developed. So this is also one of the area which will help to increase the attention and concentration of a particular person with the help of EEG signal. There is a neurocognition where you can work with the languages. We all say that when we study in our regional language, the perception is more, the understanding is more. Is it really true? Or is there any connection between the cognition and the perception and the language? That sort of activity you can perform when you are working with the neurocognition sort of activity. I spoke about ADHD, which is attention deficit disease, which is found in early. If it is early predicted, it can be really helpful for the students, and they can perform and their productivity can be really increased. Visually induced motion sickness can also be taken care of, but I didn't ever thought of this particular this thing. But for example, uh, when we are in virtual reality, okay, or when we are viewing a 3D movie, okay, so that is visually induced motion. So are you sick? Or for example, if a person is viewing something from a very height, he feel anxious or he feel fear. So what exactly happens when such type of induced things happens, and that particular motion sickness can be viewed with this particular application. Mobile phone calls, what is the effect of smartphones and utilization of these smartphones can be very easily viewed through EEG signal. And nowadays, many of the parents are complaining that their children became an addict of the mobile. Okay, so that particular thing can be very easily viewed through this particular mobile phone calls. Driver drowsiness is one of the very good area where an application can be easily created. Now here what what literature I studied is that there are certain driver drowsiness applications created, but it is with the help of a camera system, which is having its own demerits. But here, if you can create a helmet sort of a thing, lightweight helmet, or if you simply create an application which the heavy vehicle drivers will wear, and if we feel drowsy, the delta wave, you remember, the delta or theta wave will be prominent, and when those waves become prominent, you can create a alert system for that. So that particular application, and that will make driver awake, and we can stop many of the accidents and mishappenings while driving. So that driver drowsiness application can also be created with the help of EEG signal. And it's the same thing where working memory and attention, you can, for example, if you ask a person to remember his phone number, remember his friend's phone number, that particular attention and memory, if you give certain scenes to see and ask him to remember what you saw into that particular scene, that shows how much attention that particular person is having while performing certain activities. So that particular thing can also be taken care of. Brain dominance is also nowadays, after 10th or after 12th, many parents take their children to see at which side that particular child will perform, which area that particular child can perform good. That sort of application can also be helpful while going through this EEG dominance. Nowadays, it is done through simple questionnaire sort of application, but EEG can definitely contribute into finding out the brain domain and can help the children to choose the right right area for their futures. So these are the different applications. I had certain points to discuss, but I think I have explained the things. Now, coming to the challenges, you see because we are working with the non-invasive method, so obviously the BCI signal strength is low. Okay, so extracting signal from the brain is not an easy task because it is in microvolts, so you need certain another different methods to strengthen the particular signal, and we have to compromise on the quality of the signal that we are getting through these devices. So a good study can take place simply on the quality signal, on the signal that all these particular devices gives. And a good study and a good research can come up with that, yes, this particular device gives the good quality and in a non-invasive manner. So even this is one of the big challenge. We have to compromise on the quality or the strength of the signal. Data transfer rate or the bandwidth is again an area where this particular BCI challenges the different applications, and because of this challenge also many applications are not coming or getting a product transformation. High error rate is also there because we are having these particulars brings different types of errors into while acquisition. For example, the attenuation will come if a person moves his right arm, left arm, or when a person is moving his head while carrying those electrodes or something like that. So the error rate is quite high. The percentage of error is quite high when we are going for this type of one. And because it is low signal things are there, the classification or further accuracy of the system is also compromised. So these are the 4 different real world challenges that I find when we are going through. But I'm sure that many signal classification techniques can be utilized for improving these challenges. These are the different references that I found to be useful if you are starting or if you have started this particular domain to work on for a research or for the technology transfer. This is a very nice book which gives you how to process the EEG signal. Whatever the applications that you found, I have listed, I have taken from this particular book. Each application is one chapter in this particular book, which talks completely about how the data is acquired and how the data is analyzed and how the things are interfaced. So this is a very nice book which I found. EEG signal analysis and classification. This talks about all machine learning algorithms with the help of a EEG signal. This is the book written by my student, me and my guide, is Introduction to EEG and Speech-Based Emotion Recognition. This is the first case study is very nicely presented in this book. In this book, we have also shown all the data that we have collected, all the data set that we have collected. We worked rigorously what different types of techniques, PCA, LDA, classification techniques. We had a statistical technique, correlation coefficient we used. We used SPSS to statistically evaluate the data. So different types of this thing is also presented in this particular book. So the takeaway message, what I can summarize is that brain is a central unit of the brain and need the more explored it needs exploration through the technology. There are different rhythms we have seen, so we need to understand the activity with respect to the brain rhythms. there are different devices and databases are also available. I didn't cover the available online databases, but there are EEG databases also available online for us to perform certain research. Usually these EEG machines are available for the clinical practice by the doctors, but due to ethical restriction, the data is not available. So the research was stagnant over there only. And it's an important application of artificial intelligence, and all AI techniques can be exercised on these particular data set with respect to the objective. And there is a huge scope of development of different types of BCI applications. And before I end this, I'm really very sorry for all the technological hurdles that that is experienced. I'm extremely apologize for these. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Rather, it was a very wonderful session. I request participants, if they have any question, then they can ask. Any query from the participants? Ma'am, can you give us some approximate idea about the cost of the equipments that you have discussed?
Sir, the wired EEG machine comes around more than 5 lakhs. That particular time when we purchased it. Now I am sure that it must have reached up to 8 or 9 lakh. But these handy wireless device comes under 50,000. So they are quite purchasable, and they come up with a very good utilities too. So I think we can try on, or any person is interested working with these devices. Wireless EEG devices can be a good platform to work.
Okay. And I also want to know about the existing data set that may be available to download. That I think you have mentioned in the last slide that there are some data sets that are available.
Yeah.
So is it from Kaggle platform or something else?
Sorry, sir.
Where can we find the data set?
It is available on internet, sir. It is freely available on internet.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Any other doubt from the participants? Okay, then thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful session. You elaboratively explained the data collection sensors and how to collect the brainwave data. And data collection is basically the main problem in any research. And if you have the data, you can perform a lot of experiments. So data collection, you showed the path to our audience, and I am sure that now our participants can see the opportunities in this area. The kind of application that can be developed will be helpful for the differently abled person also, and it will be beneficial for both the parties, to the researcher as well as to the society, because the researcher can find a very good research area, research problem, and on the other side, they can also help the society. So it is both way helpful. So again, thank you, ma'am, once again for this wonderful session. So now we are going to close this session. Session 2 is over now. We will again.
Sir, there is Humane data set which is available online for research purpose. Yeah. So any student or anybody.
Okay, that's you have already mentioned in the chat window. So yeah, all the participants can see that Humane data set that is available online for the research purpose. You can download it, and I think it is free of cost. There is no cost involved.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you for having me here, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. We are rather grateful that you have touched such a very good research area, and you sensitize our participants about this area. So I hope definitely participants will see the opportunities and pursue the research in this particular area.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you once again. So thank you all. Now we are going to conclude this session, and we will meet again at 2:30 for the third session of today, or the third day of FDP. Thank you very much.